listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes and Master Coach Jenny Fontana, founders of the Life Coach Method. Each one of our uplifting and deep dive episodes is geared to help you tackle the things that hold you back from having the most magnificent life you deserve. Sit back, relax, and prepare to be coached.
Welcome to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes, the Addictions Coach and the Addictions Academy. With me today is Drewbie Wilson. We'll get to why he's Drewbie and not Andrew in a minute. And he is a loving husband and father who pushes himself to live in excellence so he can set an example for those around him. At one point, he weighed over 300 pounds before getting focused on his health and losing more than 100 pounds without fad diets or weight loss drugs. You guys are going to love that. We'll talk about that in a minute. An action taker with his finger on the pulse who focuses on service to others above all else, leading him to produce more than 7 figures in revenues no matter what industry he's worked in. Not one to turn away from a challenge, he looks to get out of his comfort zone as much as possible. So welcome, Drewbie.
Thank you, Dr. Callie. I appreciate you having me on the show. Excited to be here.
You're very welcome. Okay, tell everybody why you're Drewbie first, because they're going to ask me.
Yeah, so funny story. I grew up, my real name is Andrew Wilson, kind of a standard American name, very boring. I think there was about 100 of us in just the town I was born in. And so as I got older, I got into some different things. I started running the streets. All my friends called me Drewbie. All my clients in the streets called me Drewbie. And so as I got older, it just stuck around. And now it creates a great conversation piece and a little bit of a memory. And if I'm going to leave an impact on somebody, what better way than that story of them understanding how I became Drewbie?
I love that. And the reason I had you open with that is my listeners know my real name's not Callie. And mine stuck because I wanted to move to California and when I was 14 and my family refused to go. So I started calling myself Callie and it stuck and I've had it. And my mother still to this day will not call me Callie. So I love it when someone comes up with a nickname, like I'm just going to use it in commerce and it works. I love it.
Absolutely. And it's what makes you unique. It's beautiful.
It is. Well, you've got a couple unique things that I found interesting. So tell me where Call the Damn Leads came from.
Call the Damn Leads. Yep. So that is my current brand, company, and movement in the world. It originally started because, again, I grew up in the streets selling anything and everything I could get my hands on. Now, that means that I also was in some things that I probably shouldn't have been. And when I got a little older, got married, had a son, realized I don't want to be dead or in prison. So I got into legitimate sales, was selling insurance, and did pretty well at it. Realized that if I wanted to make more money in sales, I needed to learn how to get more leads. So I went and figured out marketing and started a marketing company, and I was really good at it. Imagine I could get people tons of leads, but unfortunately, Doc, the one thing that's hard to get people to do is actually call them. Because as much as somebody can say they want success, they still have to put in the work and the effort to make it a reality. And so I found myself constantly yelling at my clients, just call the damn leads and you'll get the success, you'll make the money. And it ended up becoming a big joke. And I said, someday I'm going to put it on a t-shirt and I'm going to sell it to people. And here we are, that day has finally arrived.
I love that story. And that is so true. People want business. They want clients. And then they're scared of the sales part of it. They're scared to ask for money. And I've always wondered why that is. I mean, I do big ticket stuff, 60 to 100 grand. You haven't met me and you're wiring the money. And people are always like, well, how do you do it? I'm like, call them. I talk to them. I build value. They pay me. I provide a service. It's like not rocket science, but to them, they're like, oh my God, it's crazy, right?
It is. And I think the funny thing is that to me, it's really just a mantra in most areas of life, because if you just do the work, you typically get the result. Now, it's not always exactly as you imagined it, but it kind of applies in every area, whether that's in your health and your wellness, in your relationships, in your spirituality. If you focus on it and you do the work on the things that you know you need to be doing in those areas, inevitably you're going to start improving in those areas. It's kind of like a no-brainer, but people really seem to complicate it along the way.
I love that. You simplified it for everybody. Do the work, get the results. It's that simple. And we're in a society where people want quick fixes for everything. I mean, you know that, especially with the fad diet. Take this
Mm.
pill, go on this diet, you'll be thin in 30 days. And 30 days goes by and the person lost 5 pounds and they say, well, I'm not thin. Well, it's not going to happen that fast. So you have to put the work in. Tell me how you became the meme lord.
Yes. So, I grew up, I was one of the first kids in my neighborhood to have cable internet. And so I've always kind of just been to the depths of the internet that we don't talk about online, all the things that you could see before had like privacy and protection for kids so they couldn't get to those websites. I've been in that game forever. And inevitably, what I've learned over the years, especially through marketing, is if you're trying to get someone's attention, you have to be quick. You have to understand who they are, what they're going through, their personality, the things they like, the things they don't like. And what's interesting about memes is if you go back to the source and the original like meaning of the word, it it relates from biology. It goes back to like 1979. Dr. Richard Dawkins wrote a book called The Selfish Gene, and it's all about how um, animals and evolution, basically, when you transfer an idea from one culture or society to the next, that's what is called mimetic transfer. Now, if you fast forward to 2024, when we're having this conversation and you think about memes, we think of funny pictures with different words on them or silly videos, or right now it's reels and TikTok, these little short, snappy, quick videos that get people's attention and give us filled with dopamine and excitement. That's a meme. But at the end of the day, it's literally just a transfer of one idea between cultures and societies. And so if you think about it, there's the popular, for a while it was the Baby Yoda memes, the little Grogu. If you were into Star Wars, everybody knows the little Baby Yoda memes. Or, the lady that was yelling at the cat for a while. Or if you recently watched the Olympics, people have really been ripping on that Australian breakdancer lady because it was a wild dance, but it's become a meme because it's information that's transferring between different societies, and we're all taking that information, morphing it, making it our own, and then transferring it to the next society. I've learned how to use those in my marketing and sales process to get lots of attention, create rapport, and use it to close lots and lots of sales and make a ridiculous amount of money, which is why I refer to myself as the meme lord.
I love that. And that cat meme is hilarious.
It works for everything. I can say that that meme specifically has made me several thousands of dollars worth of commissions just sending it to people, kind of getting their attention and getting them to talk to me.
That's awesome. What a great icebreaker.
And that's what it is. I think that's where a lot of people in sales get nervous. They have call reluctance. They're afraid to kind of go out and ask for the sale, essentially. And I think what most people don't want to do is be pushy or obnoxious, right? Nobody likes that person that's pushy or obnoxious or trying to hammer you to buy something you don't really want. And so I think a lot of people are afraid to be that person. And so what I like about memes is that if you know your core audience, the people that you're going to be speaking to, you can get memes that are going to be relatable because you can use similar movie scenes or television shows or quotes or song lyrics, things that your audience is going to have an emotional connection to in some fashion. And it's just that little edge that can push you over from, hey, don't talk to me, to, you know what, maybe I'll have a conversation and see what this is about.
Right. Now you've got a couple books out too, right?
Yes, ma'am. I have written 4 books in total over the years. Very blessed to have had that opportunity to share my story and give away some of the things that have helped to make me in a position to live a life that I'm pretty dang proud of.
That's awesome. And you do training. Do you train corporations? Do you train individuals? Like who do you help focus on their brand and get the message out there? Like who's your client?
Yeah, that's a great question. We specifically work with sales professionals, entrepreneurs, and small business owners. And that could even include those folks that are in a business right now, working a main W-2 job, that are thinking, someday I'm going to get the heck out of this thing and start my own business. those are the people we love to help. And what we really do is dial in on the systems and processes you need so that you can live a sustainably successful life. Because you can go and make a lot of money, but you could have a really crappy personal life. And you could have a really great personal life, but you might not have any money. And that's stressful too, because I've been on both sides of that. And what I have established in my journey and what I help clients with is getting those things dialed in, the systems and processes, so that they can live the life that they deserve to be living.
So would you consider yourself a business coach?
Uh, Business coach is a great word, consultant, trainer, whatever perspective is going to help you just understand that I come in and I take all the complicated parts of what you're doing. I give you simple systems and processes to take action on, and then we create measurable metrics to move against. Because if you don't know where you're at, it's hard to figure out exactly how to get where you're supposed to be going. So I like to set a baseline, and then we can start creating those systems and processes to make improvements. And, as you keep coming up against different roadblocks, it's kind of like, all right, let's build a ramp and get over this one and see where we end up on the next roadblock. You never know what it's going to be until you get there.
Got it. So when you're working with individuals and companies, what's your favorite type of industry to work with?
Oh, favorite type of industry. That's a hard question because I've worked with so many, from real estate to car sales to insurance to contractors. I think my favorite to work with, though, are the small mom and pop shops that are fighting against big corporate competitors and showing them how they can truly lean in on what makes them unique and what makes them special. Because I think there's a resurgence in the world right now of people wanting to support the underdog. And those are my favorite clients to work with, the ones that feel like an underdog, because there's so much potential for growth there.
Would you say that goes along with your life's mission,
I
where
would say
you've
that
been
100% goes with it.
where you've been the underdog and you've had to overcome hurdles to get where you're going?
Yeah, I think that's part of why I wrote the books. Is like, hey, if I was to sit here and try to tell you all the things that I went through in my life and share all of those stories so that you could learn whatever lesson you needed to learn, it would take us forever. But if I can compress it down into a book, and I can give you a book and you can, most of the books I've written, you can read within an hour or two. It doesn't take a ton of time, but it's a lot of information compressed down, simplified, and made easy. Because for me, I've always felt as though I'll figure it out, but if I could just find someone who can give me like a blueprint or a set of IKEA instructions to work from, it's a lot nicer. Hopefully that makes sense. But if you have all these tools and resources available, but you don't have a blueprint, it'll take you a long time to get where you're going. But if you can have someone who comes in and has done it before and says, hey, here's a blueprint on how to build that dresser, here's how to build that business, here's how to set up a marketing plan, here's how to create a follow-up sequence for your sales process, here's how to get more people to buy your stuff, it makes it a lot easier. And that's what I like to do for those who are on their journey, is come in and say, hey, here's a couple of blueprints on things that worked really well for me. Here's my story and my example of what I've become. If that resonates with you, cool, check it out and go for it.
Okay. And do you prefer working with people in the service industry or people who have a product they're bringing to market?
I'll work with anyone who's willing to do the work, in the sense that it's a good fit for what they need. Sales, systems, processes.
And everybody needs sales and everybody needs processes and systems. So pretty much everybody is your client.
The beautiful thing about Call the Damn Leads is it's kind of universal. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, you probably got clients that you need to be calling. And so, dadgummit, that's what we're here to help you do.
That's awesome. So I have a lot of people that listen that have taken our courses. We have it's called the Addictions Academy, and we have 45 different online courses in mental health and addiction that they can take globally. We're the largest in the globe. And a lot of them ask me, what's next? What's the business side of this? And the answer for me is always, well, you have to do the work. Well, what do I need to do? Well, here's a basic blueprint. I give them a basic blueprint, but I'm not a business coach. I do drug and alcohol work all day long. So people that are listening are going to be a lot of our students looking for you specifically. at the end of our interview, I'm going to put your website up to contact you, but how else can they reach you? Where can they get your books? Where can they find your products? Things like that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And what I would truly ask, if someone listened to the show today and they got some sort of value, they enjoyed what they heard, the first thing I would ask them to do is to share this episode out on social media, send it to a friend, family member, somebody that you think it can make an impact on, because that's what's going to make the biggest impact. If you listen to this and you got value and you share it with somebody, that referral is going to mean way more than them seeing it on a website somewhere strange. So do that first. And then if you go to Google and search callthedamnleads.com, we are everywhere. It doesn't matter what social media platform you're on. We're out there putting our message out, because it's not about what we like. It's about where you're at in your journey and where you're trying to go. And we want to meet you there so that we can help you get to where you want to be faster. Callthedamnleads.com, at Call the Damn Leads on every social media platform. But again, just share this episode first and make sure to tag us, because if we can help you take that next step of the journey, I want to make sure I give plenty of love and credit to Dr. Callie here.
Thank you. I think people are going to like your message because you're coming from a service perspective and a humanistic perspective, where a lot of these salespeople, the Grant Cardones, the Tony Robbins, it's all about what they get, not what they give, if that makes sense. So when I was looking to have you come on, one of the big things I look for are people that are into the human kindness perspective, not just the giving. So I don't know if you know Shelley Campbell, but she coined a phrase that said, swim with the dolphins, avoids the shark and tuna, a long time ago. And the shark being, they want what you have, but they give you nothing. The tuna want what you have, but have nothing to give you. But the dolphins are willing to give you what they have in reciprocal for what you have. And I see you in that space of wanting to help people. You want to make a good living, you want to have money and such, but you also want to help people. And that's really cool, because a lot of my listeners are those people, and they want to give back and help, but a lot of them are afraid to ask for money.
And I appreciate what you're doing for the world, because I come from a family of addiction and all those sorts of things, and have had plenty of addictions of my own to deal with. And what I've learned over the years, and what I would have to imagine is the heart of your courses, is that when you learn to do the work and you trust the process and you just lean in and you use that motivation and inspiration, and yes, even some of those addictions of the past, you can reframe and reroute that energy into good, great things to change your life on a massive scale. And I believe sales is one of those industries that will take anyone from any background and give you an opportunity to make something amazing of yourself. So thank you again so much for the opportunity to be here. And I really hope some of your listeners got some value today.
Oh, I definitely think they did. And we're going to be sending this episode out to all of our students. We have a 40,000 constant contact lead base of people that have taken our classes. So they'll be getting a copy of this along with your website and books that they can purchase. They can obviously hire you for help with their company, and they can reach out to you directly. So they'll all get a copy of this and they can see it. And I think you'll probably get some calls from them looking for help from that humanistic perspective of, we want people to pay us, but we also want to be of service and value. So I do thank you for coming on, and I appreciate your wisdom and your help.
All right. Well, I'll certainly look forward to catching up with you again soon, Doc.
Thanks. And you've been listening to Unpause Your Life. This is Drewbie Wilson, and you can reach him at callthedamnleads.com.
Thank you for listening to Unpause Your Life with Dr. Callie Estes and Master Coach Jenny Fontana. Head over to www.thelifecoachmethod.com to learn more about coaching yourself and how to become a master coach.